What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. The book is entitled Lessons from a Non-Custodial Father at Amazon Kindle Create Space. Link will be in the description box below as usual. Go get it. PayPal link there also. They asked me to put it up. I put it up. Thank you guys for support. But this video is entitled Creating a Boogeyman for a Cover or for your cover. See, some of us create a boogeyman. We create a scapegoat. We create a monster in another person because and point the finger at the other person because we're the monster, and it gives us cover to be evil or mean-spirited, and to operate with bad morals and ethics, because we got a group of people to agree that they're the bad guy, they're the monster. Now, this plays out in society in a lot of different ways. Dad's the bad guy. Now, if dad's the bad guy, that means mom's the good guy. Now, if mom's the good guy and dad's the bad guy, but over time, you remember dad's few blow-ups, but you ignore multiple of mom's blow-ups. You know, dad didn't lie to you, mom lied to you. Dad didn't steal from you, mom stole from you. Dad didn't set you up to fail, mom set you up to fail. But guess what? Dad's the monster, right? He's the boogeyman. I did all of these things to protect you, even though they sabotaged your life, because I was operating out of fear of the boogeyman, bad dad. And at some point, kids' brain click like, okay, your actions don't line up with protecting me from a boogeyman. Your actions line up with you being the boogeyman. Stockholm Syndrome types. Because let's go to somebody else. I'm a black man. Black men are the boogeyman of society. When you compare us to other groups of men, you would like, is our violent history equal to everybody else's? I mean, how close we talking? Since we're the boogeyman, you know, do we go in other countries blowing up buildings and killing men, women, and children? Is that what we do? We don't do that. A black man could be said as anti-Semitic and be hailed a black Hitler. Black people going around rounding up white Jews and killing them and burning them up. That's what we've done. But we're the boogeyman, so it makes sense. Are we going around? Do we have cartels out here, you know, killing people and chopping up people so we can funnel drugs to these other people's community? Is that what we do? No, we don't. But we're the boogeyman, right? Are black men running around becoming law enforcement officials, killing all other non-blacks, hiding behind a badge? Is that what we do? We don't do that. But we're the boogeyman, right? Because everybody else gets cover because I was protecting myself from the boogeyman. So you murdered 13 people because you were scared that I was going to kill everybody. That's what you're saying? Okay, that makes sense to you. You know, you shooting up schools because I'm the boogeyman? Okay, right. See, that creates cover for your actions. So nobody really never adds up the actions of these other people because they're not the boogeyman. They got they pass in present history says that they definitely have monsters amongst them. But since they're not looked at as the boogeyman, and we're looked at as the boogeyman, they get cover. Now, the irony, you know, And they tell people this: don't go poking the bear, right? But if somebody has made you the boogeyman, you're the villain. See, don't go poking the bear states that the person who's poking the bear is the one in the wrong. But so you don't hear people saying, bear, don't go poking the humans. You don't hear people saying, sharks don't go on land with hamburgers and money to attract these crazy people. But you hear people don't go swimming with the sharks and don't put blood in the water. It's very simple because you know exactly what you're getting into when you get in a particular situation. But if you create a boogeyman, they're the monster. Now the irony about this is the agreement that someone is the boogeyman is an agreement amongst a group of monsters. And what I mean by that is this: if you say someone is evil and you come to agreement and say this person is evil, then that gives you as a group license to attack this person. You notice when they have the horror movies, they're the horror movies where the villain, they were the type of horror movies where the villain was actually the boogeyman for real and the monster for real. And then there was these other movies that were kind of in the horror genre where people were just looked upon as freaks of nature, and they were just isolated because they kept getting attacked because people made up stories that they were the boogeyman, they were a monster because they were freaks of nature, right? So everybody was cool, dumping on them. Now, where it goes wrong is this: what happens when the boogeyman walks away? See, and that's why I reference those movies, because when a boogeyman is by themselves and isolated, that means you went looking for the boogeyman, right? Because you can't get your bloodlust out on the public, so you got to go looking for the person you can get your bloodlust out on. Anybody remember that Rosewood? The movie, all the murders was based on a lie. The whole group knew that the woman didn't get raped by a black man, but it was cover for their bloodlust to go murdering people, burning people's stuff down, and killing people. And everybody was in agreement, so nothing was, wrong, immoral, illegal, unethical, right? There was a video I saw of Bill Duke saying, when he was a kid, it was telling his grandparents told him stories about, white people getting together, barbecuing black people. See, those people said black people was the boogeyman, evil monsters. And these were people who were barbecuing human beings. As if that's not monstrous, as if that's not evil, as if that's not something straight from the devil himself, right? Because, the birth of a nation mindset let people say this person's a boogeyman. Same way people talk about, when Cat Williams used to talk about the insurgents, when you look at movies, all Muslims are the boogeyman because they're going to blow up stuff. They're insurgents, right? All Mexicans are the boogeyman because they're drug cartel leaders, right? And they're going to kill everything. They have no respect for the law, right? All Italians are mob boogeyman. All Jews are behind the scenes thieves and snakes and try to keep their hands clean like they didn't do nothing. That's their boogeyman, right? They have these models of boogeyman. All gold diggers, all women who like men with money are gold diggers, and they're out to rob and rip off a man for everything he's ever worked for. That's the boogeyman. But in that same construct, there's the person who has to see you as the boogeyman so they can do what it is that they want to do. So, talked to soldiers before about, being over cross seas and having to do missions, and them realizing that they're not necessarily fighting to protect America. They're fighting. They're the enforcement arm of somebody else's agenda. And then when they kick in doors and they realize families, they're holding families at gunpoint because these people are supposed to be evil, but it kind of reminds them of the idea that, wait, if somebody went to my house with 4 other soldiers and guns and kicked in the door and it was the wrong house because they're supposed to be evil and that was my family, who's really the monster here? Who's pointing the gun at the baby? Is the baby a monster? Because they said so now, and I can get away with believing it. Grandma a monster, granddad a monster. Oh, the family pet, that chihuahua, it looks kind of murderous. So, the construct leaves a lot of leeway for people to do things that can feed into their mob mentality. So you never necessarily look at the monsters. You look at the boogeyman, but not the monsters who need cover. So we out. Peace.